Guys, today we are looking at KJ Simpson, the junior guard from Colorado, who will be just about 22 years old by the time the draft takes place. He's around 6'2", 185, 188 pounds or so. And Simpson is a guy who, quite frankly, I didn't rate as highly as I should have when I was watching a lot of Colorado games earlier in the season. I was really focused on Cody Williams. He looked pretty good, especially early in the season. And thought, KJ Simpson was a decent college player, good guard, but didn't really rate his NBA prospects, or really didn't even give him much consideration. And I gotta say that I was wrong, and I should have given him more consideration earlier in the season. Simpson averaged nearly 20 points a game, nearly 6 rebounds, and almost 5 assists. And he did so while shooting 47% from the field, 43% from 3, and 88% from the free throw line, on 52% from his 2-point shots, and just over 2 turnovers a game. So, a couple of things about Simpson, just background-wise. He improved each year. His percentages, his assist-to-turnover ratio, and just his raw numbers. It got better from his freshman year to his sophomore year, and from his sophomore year to his junior year. Now, some of that might be attributed to the fact that as a sophomore, he had mono. He also had an ankle injury, so that definitely dampened some of his numbers and led to kind of a bigger increase this season. But I still think he improved year over year as a player, just statistically, and just kind of watching Simpson move around the court and just his confidence as a lead guard. He was the leading scorer for the Buffaloes, and that just gives even more, I would say, credence or just credit really to his percentages, because he was the guy taking the most shots, and he almost had a 50-40-90 season. He was an extremely efficient scorer. He's really good with his pull-up from mid-range. As a smaller guard, that's really important to have in your arsenal. We've seen it a lot in the NBA playoffs this year with smaller guards. Nembhard's a little bit bigger. He's really good from the mid-range. Jalen Brunson, obviously a much, better player, but really good from the mid-range. As a smaller guard, you need to have that in your arsenal, and KJ Simpson certainly does. And then his passing. For a guy who I initially thought of as like a scoring guard, and he certainly is a scoring guard, he is a solid passer. He can get the advanced pass going up the court. He does a good job of just getting his teammates involved in the game. And as your lead guard, and he's not going to be changing position because of his size, that's a really important skill to have, because he needs to be able to do more than just score. And while he is a really good scorer, it's nice to have that extra piece to his game. And speaking of extra pieces, he's a good defender, especially against guys similar size. He averaged over 1.5 steals per game. He does a good job of rotating, staying in front of the ball, and just being a nuisance, quite frankly, to the opposition. And that's really impressive, again, because of the responsibility he had as the leading scorer for the Buffaloes. Now, on the flip side, some weaknesses I would say for Simpson. He's like an average or below average finisher around the rim. He is a good athlete, but he's not a great finisher yet. Now, he did improve, year over year in that area, so I do think there's a chance he gets better. But with his size at 6'2", with shoes on, it's not going to be something that gets easier at the next level. So he's going to have to improve, be a little bit more crafty around the rim, because he does have the athleticism to hang in the air or dunk, but he needs to figure out when and where to use that a little bit better so he can be more efficient around the rim. Additionally, he was much more efficient at home than he was on the road. Not necessarily an indictment on KJ Simpson, but it is something to note moving into the next level, that he was much better, more comfortable, clearly, at home than he was on the road. And then, as I mentioned before, he is undersized at 6'2", 185, 190, and so that limits him to really only being able to guard one or maybe at most two positions, depending on the player. which could hurt him just getting on the court because teams might look to target him. And that's more of a problem that'll more likely show up in the playoffs than it will in the regular season. So, would I draft KJ Simpson? Maybe. And the reason why I say maybe is because it depends on the team that I currently have. If I've got a team with another small guard, or a couple other small guards, probably not. But if I'm a team who has a lot of size, who's looking for a guy who can score the ball, handle it, and get other people involved, then I would consider taking KJ Simpson. And I think he goes somewhere in the second round. Fits could be teams like Minnesota, who could use a backup guard to Mike Conley, especially as he's getting up there in age. The Sixers, kind of a blank slate there. I don't know who they're going to have, but based off of what I think they're going to do, they could use some cheap young players who can help them, especially again in the regular season. And the Phoenix Suns, they desperately need a point guard, and I think Simpson could help fill that void. So I'm curious what you guys think about KJ Simpson. Where do you see him going? What do you rate his NBA prospects? And let me know in the comments below. And please subscribe to the channel for more great NBA content. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.